see what storyline is followed. The Ahmedabad team wins, or Dhoni's farewell happens, or uh, Ambani's team wins. that's a that's a third one, right?
Yeah.
LSG doesn't have anything, so that's why I feel LSG का कोई storyline नहीं है कि क्या बना सकते हैं इसके लिए. LSG का we have
But
to think
think
of
of
something.
it, they are a team which has nothing to lose, right? Nobody is
Hmm.
expecting them to even win the eliminator. So
I,
at
I
times
I
such
fear
teams
for
can
them.
become dangerous when they have
Yeah,
nothing to lose. Yeah.
but I fear for them if they win the IPL, then actually people will say Rahul चला गया तो जीत गई LSG.
Hello all and welcome to a new video on our YouTube channel, The Third Man Musings. Well, what a crazy last week of IPL it's been. We are finally done with the league phase, and such was the end of the league phase that going into the last weekend, on Friday night, only one team was assured of the playoff spot. Three other teams were still fighting it out in the Saturday and Sunday matches. So amazing IPL went right down to the via the league stage at least. We'll be today previewing the matches which which are coming ahead, the eliminator and qualifier one. So that will be a very interesting discussion today. But before we move on to that, it was such an irony that the both of us, the sides that we were supporting, were going neck to neck on the last day, right? One's result was dependent on the other, and eventually Sumit's side won. MI
Yeah.
won through, and it was another season of Isala Cup Namde not happening again, and next Salah Cup Namde reverberating again. So same story for RCB. Sumit, your thoughts on your side making it to the playoff?
So yeah, mixed emotions basically because I was very happy that Mumbai Indians made it somehow, some way with a non-performing captain, but they pulled through, getting a template in. I think what the thing worked for them is they've set about a template that okay, the bowling is really bad. Let's just chase on anything and everything, and if they've chased on I think 200 plus scores like 4 times in the IPL, which is a record. So they sorted out the template, and as expected, they won against SRH, who I think decided like let's just get the wooden spoon from Delhi. Otherwise, Delhi was having it before. I think that till third, fourth of the season, Delhi was there, right? So MI took that advantage and good all that, and then comes the main match, RCB versus GT. And on paper, I think both of us would agree, GT were favorites. They are a
Definitely.
brilliant team, right? So very mixed feelings because I was obviously rooting for MI because this unfortunately is a direct clash, right? I would have preferred to see RCB and MI both, but unfortunately we didn't have that option. So RCB played well, and then I was feeling sad, and then Vijay Shankar was playing for RCB in the middle for some time, and then he suddenly hit some boundaries of Vaishak. So that was uh, something worked out. So my emotions changed. I think that's one thing which I realized that there are some residual feelings still for RCB, which I think like most of us can relate to it. You move on from your ex, you have a new relationship, and then you see your ex doing well, and then you realize you don't want her to do well, but she still does well. And you're like, okay, hone do is bar. And I think by the end of it, and um, right last 2 3 years, I started cheering for RCB, and that was a big change for me. I was like, let MI, it's okay, MI can go next year always. They're a champion team. And I think one of the issues with my electricity is that I think some RCB fan is handling my electricity since last night. I'm facing this issue. So that please, I will just ask the people to bear with this because it is very difficult to edit every time the light goes. So you can see me a bit, and I hope I'm not that scary. So this would keep happening, but yeah, we'll proceed with the video. So coming back to the RCB part, yeah, I was hoping they would win, and it just felt bad when they lost. And I think that's down to only one man. Honest to God, there's nobody else in that team that could evoke that emotion in me, and that was Kohli. And the way that man batted for those last two matches, back to back hundreds, like a man possessed, and it reminded me of that innings against Pakistan in MCG, right? That immortal innings. And you were like, this guy has suddenly got it back, and you just want him to bat like that more. And he would have been a big danger for any team in the playoffs and eliminator, like the one man team. So that kind of emotion, which what Sachin used to evoke in us, that's what Kohli did. But when he took that catch, his knee got injured, and you could see him in the dugout, and that cap was drooping. He seemed sad, and I think that was it. I think Kohli never loses hope. And when you see him lose hope, that means yeah, things are genuinely done because he fights right till the end. So I think just one guy was standing out for me, and honestly, just two people played well in that fine match, right? So class players stood up on that day. So yeah, I think lot of we'll do a lot of diagnosis like when we go over the review of each team after the IPL. But for me, yeah, I think the better team went through. I'll be very honest. Now, if I compare MI and RCB, they were very equally inconsistent, and they should have won a lot of matches, which they did not. But I think MI finally settled down and found the slots for their players in the right time, and RCB was struggling. Like Hasaranga, Hazelwood, two very bona fide international superstars, they were not able to come through for whatever reason. So you think that was one of the tricks they missed before you jump onto the playoffs?
I think the main problem for RCB was right from the start of the season. You knew that this would be a team which would be dependent on just a couple of two, three individuals, right? And the problem with RCB is throughout the season, at no point did it look like the team would come together and arrest that particular gap. Like for example, MI and CSK. If you remember the initial three, four
Hmm.
games, you thought, man, these two sides will struggle to qualify because of the poor bowling
Bowling.
attack,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
both teams found a way to you know
Manage.
navigate through that situation. But with
Hmm.
RCB, you never found that. And in tournaments, right? That too long tournaments like the IPL, where you play 14 plus games, 15 plus games, including the playoffs. When it's a small tournament, like let's say sometimes the ICC tournaments are a shorter version, you can get away with teams having just two or three great players, right? But in such tournaments where all teams are on par, such teams can't go through. I mean, as an RCB fan, I am hurt, and I'm sure many other lakhs of RCB fans are hurt. But today, when you retrospect after the match, right, you will know that there were
Hmm.
shortcomings with this side, right? Toothless
Hmm.
bowling attack. I mean, once you have 200 on the board,
One bowler they had.
yeah,
That's what I'll say. Yeah.
as an opposition team, you just have to play Siraj's opening spell, and then the rest are
Hmm.
easy fodder, right? And even in the batting, Faf, Maxwell, and Kohli are very hard to get. But once you break through, then that middle order is up for the taking, right? So, I mean, and I don't know, it's been a generational problem for RCB, right? I can
Just having
only
very top
think
heavy, I think, always.
I can
That no?
only think
Hmm.
of one phase. If you remember, Sumit, in the first couple of years where RCB had Stain, Kumble, Callis, that was, I think, the only time RCB had a good bowling attack, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In that 2009 IPL edition, which happened in South
Hmm,
Africa,
hmm, hmm,
right?
hmm.
That was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
only
yeah.
time RCB, and you had Vander Merv, who used to chip in and all. So that was the only time. But other than that, the emphasis has been so much on batting. I don't know why we just don't invest in some good bowlers. And I'm sorry, I'll be very scathing in my analysis. I think DK has played his last match for RCB. I
yeah.
think.
Not in the IPL, I'll still say, because he's
Yeah,
an Indian
yeah.
keeper, so he might get a gig anywhere else. But
Mhm.
yeah, what DK did last year combined with what the top order this year, I think they had the perfect combination. But unfortunately, both halves performed in different IPLs. I think that's where they
Right,
lost the plot.
right.
So yeah, true. Siraj was the only one that was providing any threat. And
Yeah.
yeah, the favorite theme of the team was KGF. They used to call it, right? But yeah, it all came crumbling down with this lower order, which had nothing. So I
Correct.
think if you go with the stats of IPL, best power play team was RCB in terms of batting and bowling because they used to control both parts of the game,
True.
but somehow the middle and the end was always a problem. And I
Correct.
think
I mean, kudos to
yesterday
the big three, right? Faf 700 plus runs, Kohli 630
only
odd
600.
runs, Maxwell 400 plus runs,
That's a lot
Siraj
for them.
amongst the wickets, close to 20 wickets, right?
Yeah,
So,
he was
I
in the
mean,
purple cap
they did
shortlist.
their best. I mean, it was just a four-man team, and the other seven were just fielding. Seriously, the
Hmm.
other seven were just fielding. I mean,
They will
yeah,
need to again go back to the drawing board as usual, which RCB I
right,
think does every time, along with Punjab and SRH. I mean, a lot of teams keep going back to drawing board every year. I think that's one of the
right,
issues in IPL. So let's see. And I think one thing I think we'll have to mention because we will discuss in detail also further ahead. I'm sure for years to come. But yesterday we saw the passing of Baton. So we have had generational batting legends. There was Gavaskar, then there was Sachin, there was Kohli, and yesterday I think we saw the Baton being handed over to Shuman Gill because that innings was something else. And I've never seen him this good. I mean, even those double centuries and everything, but the way he played with the bowlers and how everybody else was just falling around him, yet it didn't phase him. He even helped Vijay Shankar get through, carry over. He wasn't batting well, but he still kept giving him the confidence, and that helped him get those 14 of Aishak in that crucial over. So Suman Gill. now is the next generation superstar, and I will love to see how they will get to retain him for 5 crores. I think that's what they retain him for. I think this guy is worth way more. If Mayank Agarwal is worth 12, 13 crores, and no, sorry, he's 8 crores. Harry Brook was 12 crores. So you can imagine. I mean, this guy's 15 crore material now. He's like come of age, as we discussed in a preview. This seemed the season, and I think this innings just solidified it because again, just two batsmen played on that pitch, and they were two very world class batsmen. So good omens for our 50-year World Cup team. But yeah, it's just bad
Absolutely.
that the king had to suffer at the hands of the prince.
Prince,
So
yeah. And mind you, it
it's,
was a tough pitch, right? It was not a
it wasn't easy.
traditional
Yeah,
Chinnaswamy pitch
yeah,
where,
yeah.
you could just
Stand in
open
you.
your arms and swing through the
Mm.
line. It was a tough pitch. The cutters were gripping, right? And apart from these two, as you said, nobody got in on that pitch, right? Vijay Shankar, I know, had one big over, but even he was struggling throughout the
He
course of
was,
the innings.
he was playing
So,
golf. I think Shubman
eh,
said कि क्रिकेट मत खेलो नहीं हो पा रहा तुम लेग साइड में करो
yeah,
take Abdur Razak का नाम उड़ाओ ball ऐसे. And he actually managed to connect some. And I think one thing we should mention is a luck part. I think RCB were a bit unlucky. I'll be very honest. The number of edges
true.
that Saha hit, inside and outside and everything. And that Himanshu Sharma bowler, I mean, he bowled a decent ball and that went through everybody and went for a
Yeah,
boundary. So a
Rawat
lot of
missed it, yeah.
so a lot of extra runs which normally don't happen. So it just seemed like luck wasn't in their favor. There was a rain threat also. Like okay, this will get rained out. Typical RCB. So a lot of bad things happened. One guy tried to fight it all on his own. Unfortunately, yeah, that's why he felt bad. He's getting it back at
Correct,
34, 35. He's getting a second wind like Sachin also got in his last part of his career.
correct.
So I'm very excited now. I'm
And the most
happy.
pleasing fact for me was the way he took on the spinners yesterday.
Oh yeah,
Right
for a change.
now,
Yes, yes.
throughout the IPL, we were discussing, and many team strategists also did see that. In a
They'll
lot
start
of
with
matches, you
spin.
saw spin coming in early. But yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
the way he took down Noor and Rashid also incredible. I mean,
Yeah,
there was no bone of negativity in both matches, the SRH match also and
yeah,
this
yeah.
match. He
Definitely,
just
definitely.
went hard right from the word go. Really
And
incredible. Yeah.
and all the proper cricketing strokes now. These are not
Right.
slogs. Similar to Shuman again. Shuman also all proper cricketing, elegant shots. So now, yeah, I think that's a good way to let's segue into the. I think we both can talk about RCB for half an hour or 1 hour, but yeah, it'll be like we can keep a separate rant show for RCB and MI. I think in the future. For now, let's go ahead and preview our first playoff, which is GT CSK. I think we had predicted GT for sure. I think CSK also. I think we said top two material
We did.
because
We did.
Dhoni will
Yes.
carry them somehow with that all odd even game that he plays in IPL of winning and losing. So coming to GT, we didn't find any faults then. And I still and after Gill's innings, I am really scared. I'm like thinking like there's Gill, there are your two mystery spinners, there is Shami, and you have that army of finishers, at 4, 5, 6, 7, and Vijay Shankar is batting well also. So what do you do with this team? I don't. And again, we did that analysis, right? How they have lost in this IPL. They lost two matches just because of brilliance from other people, and it was not their fault. Like Rinku and the Samson Hitmaya show. So, do you see anything in GT like what changes that they can make, or you know, even I'm like
The,
puzzled.
the
What
only
can?
thing I think, I don't know, I am pretty disappointed that they dropped Sai Sudarshan, right? Because he was doing well, and I don't know why
Yeah,
they're preferring Vijay Shankar over Sai Sudarshan. I mean, Sai Sudarshan
it's-
definitely, I think he could have done well on yesterday's pitch. He
yeah, it's his
also
type
has
of pitch.
a very good technique, and we saw
Mm,
people who have good techniques flourish on tough pitches. So, I don't know, maybe I might still go to him. And
mm.
let's see, maybe Joshua Little will come back, right? Probably for the
Yeah.
next game because Shanaka. I mean, I know it's tough for a guy coming in the middle of the IPL and suddenly getting going from ball one, but he struggled in the couple of chances he's got. He's not even bowling, so maybe Joshua Little comes in for Shanaka and.
Mm.
Amazingly, Miller hasn't got going so far. I mean, he's got very
Yeah.
limited balls. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we have the best of Miller coming up in the next few matches. So that
It,
will
it's
also be
it's a very strange team where anybody stands up anytime. That's what I'm
correct.
seeing, right? It's like Tevatia, I think, has won them two matches till now, and Mila, I think, finished one match. I remember. I don't know which one,
Right.
but he hasn't finished a lot, as you were saying.
Correct.
Pandya, I don't remember doing a lot. Also, somehow
Only
he's
one
also just
innings,
behind
right?
this.
Where he
Ha.
went after, yeah, the
I think
spinner.
Gill obviously is the major one. I think from last year to this year, Gill has become a different player and different league altogether. So he's also on 600 plus runs, 200s back to back. So he has just taken everybody's pressure on him and just delivering. The bowling is something which really like yes, they are looks better now. I think they did a very smart thing after just not keeping him for some weeks, and
Yeah.
now he's
And
back and looking
kudos,
good.
good comeback, good comeback.
Good, and good man management also.
Yeah.
Because that is a scarring thing. What happened with him with that the hands of Rinku. So good way to just take him out of the attack, because a lot of media and memes and so much thing that poor guy must have gone through, right? So
Yeah.
just took him out of the firing line, and he's looking good again. So they can make the bowling even more efficient by getting little in, but I don't know whether they want to just keep doing what they are doing, because Pandey is yet to bowl. Pandey hasn't bowled a lot in the last few. I think he's doing the same thing which he did last year.
Yesterday he
He's
was
just
off
bowled
the field also for some time, I
some
think, right?
injury or
Yeah,
something, or
yeah.
he just didn't want to do anything. He said, "I'll do a Dhoni and I'll just stay in the dugout and let my team do everything." Because in his interview, he clearly said, I think one of the interviews I saw was, you can make a team two ways. One is by all the superstars, which Mumbai Indians do, or you can build a culture, which Chennai does. So he's very clear how he wants to build this team, and he's going the Chennai mold. So you can see he stopped batting, and he doesn't bowl, and he doesn't stay on the field. So he's doing a proper leadership qualities coming out.
Delegation.
So totally, like all our managers do, is find the able people to replace. So come stemming, coming from delegation, coming to a CSK, right? The ultimate delegation team. So uh, again, somehow they're there, and they land up in a funny situation, where the last match, if they had lost, they could have been out if RCB and MI both had won. So they were in a very strange one where they could have been eliminated, but we know it doesn't happen. And then they hit Delhi for 200 plus on a Kotla pitch, which I don't know was a new pitch or what happened suddenly. I don't think Kotla is supposed to give so many runs. So they have been brilliant this season. I think, like you discussed the initial part, right? The bowling was really bad, but now it's all coming together with Chahar coming back. Tikshana is bowling better. Patirana is a find of the season, and Dhoni is going to develop him into the new Malinga. And Deshpande, main guy, man. So I forgot about it. So, he is also now in the backdrop. Because I think he was a purple cap holder for some time, which was hilarious because his economy was 10 plus. So they have like got four good bowlers, and Jadeja and Moin
Moeen Ali are
doing what
pitching
they
in,
do.
yeah.
So it's a Chepauk pitch, and my God, the home crowd is going to go crazy that day. I can totally imagine. Like it's like GT win this also, it'll be like, my God, that team is like next level. First beating RCB in Ch- Chinnaswamy, and now going to Chepauk and beating Chennai. So that's like true, like
Right, and even their
badass stuff.
batting, right? I mean, Conway,
Huh.
Gaikwad. I mean, I don't recollect a match in which both have failed together, right?
Yes, that
Either
didn't
both
do
are doing superbly 100 plus run partnerships, or at least one guy, makes a decent contribution. Plus,
contribution,
Shivam
and
Dubey is going from strength to
something.
strength.
Yeah.
Somehow, obviously, Raidu, Rahane have been a bit inconsistent,
Huh,
but I
Rahane
think
has dropped
again,
off, I
yeah,
think.
Moeen
Mm.
has been a bit inconsistent with the bat,
Yeah,
but Jaddu and Dhoni are also providing those finishing touches
final
apart from
flourishes.
those three,
Yeah,
right? So they are looking a well-rounded squad, and I would not hesitate to make a call that the final could be between
what you're
GT and
saying.
CSK again.
Yeah, I agree.
So
It's
yeah,
like two best teams are in the top two, which is fine in terms of how they've covered. Like GT was always a very strong team. We knew that from beginning. And CSK being CSK has come around to it. So I think it's the battle of two captains. And I know the home crowd is going to be the 12th man for them. But GT is so strong that it doesn't matter. So even if whoever loses, they will be the favorite in the next eliminator against the eliminator one
correct.
team that wins,
Will it
right?
be a fairy tale ending for Dhoni riding into the sunset with another
Oh,
IPL victory?
or a Gujarat team wins in Gujarat. So yeah, can be. It's just not a very rare phenomenon, I think, in the future also. So coming from jumping to the other eliminator now, which is LSG MI, and we were all, I think, most of us thought it was going to be RCB only because everybody wanted to see LSG and RCB won last time, and it would have been like a best of three, right? And that day, probably I think gloves would have been off, and we would have seen punching and proper violence like it happens in football matches at times. And I think everybody
Yeah,
wanted that. And
yeah.
Kohli in the form he was, I have no idea what that guy would have done
It
to
would have been a
Naveen.
third hundred, I think. Yeah.
Third hundred, or at least a lot of abuses left, right, center to Naveen Gambhir, and just making a point. So it would be very entertaining, but sadly, yeah, we won't be seeing it. But I think LG is one of the strange teams where I think they become unlikable, unfortunately, by whatever. I mean, Gambhir, I think he's mellowed down a bit. I think something must have been discussed with him that you are not a player anymore. You are a mentor. Please act your role and not to be a bad example for people like Naveen. So that part, and one of the strange teams where the captain goes and the team becomes better. I think that was one of my strangest observations. Like, ये राहुल गया तो ये team अच्छा खेल रही है. And Krunal seems a decent captain, He
Hmm.
seems a bit
He's
crazy,
he's
but
marshalling his resources well. Yeah.
but he's doing the job somehow. So this team has no Indian performer and in batting, and they're really clutching at straws for Indian batters because Deepa Huda is averaging less than 10. So they have nothing going for them, but they have these two foreigners, these like
Yeah.
bouncer guys. I think they just murder every ball. It's like it's funny how they bat better than our Indian players on slow pitches, which really amuses me.
That is
How are they doing better?
amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but one Indian batsman I think recently is Prerak Mankad. At least they have
Oh,
found him. So man of the match in one match, and hopefully going
he'll
into the
debut.
playoffs, hopefully
He'll
can
be number
turn up
three.
something because the rest has been ordinary. Deepak
Yeah.
Huda is struggling in every match, single figures almost every match. Krunal Pandya is struggling. Badoni again. You get some scores
On it,
again.
yeah, but not that great. It's just Stoinis and
Correct,
Puran, I think.
correct. Stoin is
That's it.
Puran. And I mean, again, I would love to hear thoughts on this. I still feel they can drop Naveen ul Haq because every
Um,
match he's not taking wickets, he's getting hit for 10 plus runs.
uh,
And bring in Myers at least. At least Myers Decock combination becomes intimidating at the top. And I mean,
mm.
whether Avesh bowls or whether Naveen ul Haq bowls,
Naveen
not
was
the same
get
thing.
get.
But
Yeah,
at least in the bowling, I think Krunal, Mohsin, and Bisnoy are still doing well. But the
yeah.
Indian batting, I mean, totally out of touch.
I think they found one more bowler, Yash Thakur, who
Just
they've
Thakur.
just developed out of the blue. Like good Yorkers at the end, and he took that pressure from Rinku very well in the last over, in the last match, so that they could qualify. So yeah, Naveen, I think on Chepauk, I don't think they're dropping him. It is his kind of pitch where his cutters will work. So and Maya's traditionally, if you see his record in these slow pitches, it's really bad. He's been very good in those easy pitches where you stand and deliver. So I don't think they're changing the combination now. I personally feel, and they're just hanging by a thread. I believe Stoinis Puran have a bad day. I don't know who's going to rescue this side. So bleak
Mumbai is the
chances.
favorites for that eliminator. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
And the only way I think they become like see, LSG become favorites is if Mumbai bat first. I think if Mumbai chase, I think they're sorted. But yeah, if Mumbai bat first, then maybe they have a chance because Puran and Stoinis have produced crazy innings while chasing as well, with no matter what the run rate. And I don't know which Chapok pitch turns up. Is it going to be the spinner one or is it going to be the batting friendly one? Are they using a new pitch or are they reusing whatever's being used in the entire IPL? So that's
For the
another.
playoffs, I think they're using new
They were,
pitches. That's what I heard.
yeah, that's what I heard. Even Ahmedabad, they were keeping some fresh pitches, which makes
Correct.
sense. So unlikable team. I think nobody would. Very few people who will want LSG to go through. I'm sure. So MI should be going through, and then yeah, then it becomes the big three. MI versus GT or MI versus CSK. So we'll discuss when that happens if it does. So coming to MI, I think they sorted out the bowling. They found again a new Indian star. Like star might be a big word, but they keep finding these Indian players who do very well. And this Akash Madwal is one of them. Started as a death bowler, bowls a bit of new ball also, and he takes your wickets, he controls your runs. So very, very handy Indian quick to have. Berendorf found his bit of edge. Chawla ji is, just turning back the clock. Kartikeya is good. My only issue is that one bowler they've got. So I think they, the guy I hated like anything, and they bought him as a replacement because they thought they could replace an English bowler with an English bowler with similar attributes of being a fast death bowler and somebody who can tonk the ball. But there's miles apart in terms of quality. There's a reason why Chris Jordan has played for a lot of teams and keeps getting dropped after one season. So unfortunately, they have some contract where they have to play this England bowler who bowls fast. Otherwise, they have Riley Meredith who did decently. And I think he's not going to give you more like play Arjun if you have to, and play Devol Brevis to bat if you have to give 50 runs. Even Arjun can give 50 runs in bowling if you really are so enthusiastic about chasing 200 always. So I just think that's a brain dead move, but they'll do it because they've been doing it in
They'll
their
go ahead with it. Now I think they are stuck with the template. No, Berendorf,
mm,
Chris Jordan, Karthikeya, Piyush Chawla, and
and Madwal.
Madhwal. And Madhwal changed that game against SRH, right?
SRH,
Don't
yeah,
forget they were 168 for 1 in 16 overs, comfortably looking at 220. I
yeah. And
remember both
Klassen
of us
was there.
texting each other
Yeah,
that
yeah.
220 is on the cards, and just 32 runs in 4 overs. I mean, he got Klassen and Brook consecutive balls, right? Both clean bowled with Yorkers. So this guy looks very exciting. And now at least Mumbai, as we discussed, have worked around their problems. Their batting is
Yeah,
sorted again now. Surya is in his elements. He's looking top
yeah.
draw. Um, Green got a
Green.
fantastic 100.
Mm.
Rohit and Kishan, you can't expect them to be consistent all the time. If it's their day, then you better thank
Yeah.
your stars. But David is looking good again. So a lot of things are going good for MI, and at least Vadera and Vishnu Vinod, one of them are performing every match. So
Huh.
yeah, so they're
I
doing
don't know
well.
what's up with
At least for the
Tilak.
eliminator, I fancy them to go through. Then it's a matter of just two good matches from there.
Great. And hopefully Tilak comes in. I don't know. They are not very clear on the injury he's facing. So if
Yeah.
Tilak comes in, then you actually have your proper seven batsmen. Rohit Sharma got going the last innings. It was a bit of a struggle in terms of he got his 50, but he was slogging at the end and it worked out. The only fear with him is his weird ratio that he performs one in five, 6 matches. Now he's done for the tournament, unfortunately. And next we can hope he performs in the WTC final, which I think is fine. Then okay, be let's support our Indian team because right now I just see Kohli and Gill in like the top test
Hmm.
form to handle those quicks, right? In Oval. So it'll be a challenge to see how these guys do. But I just and Kishan, I'm assuming should come good in one every odd match. He does something. So the batting is sorted. Surya, again, you won't know. That's the problem with Surya. Is that X factor player who will win you a match or he will go for nothing because of the way, and you have to account for that because the brilliance he has.
Correct.
So it's it's going to be like a even match in terms of if MI bat first, definitely it's going to be an even match.
Hmm.
But if MI chase, I think it should be fine. And I don't know. The pitch is a major variable for me because even Lucknow has decent spinners, right? They have Bishnoi, they have Amit Mishra, they can get Gautam in. So they have Naveen the cutters and also
Right.
it's a good side, but yeah, they're too dependent on just two players, whereas MI has three, four players who have been winning them the matches. So yeah, let's see. Excited to see how these two matches pan out, and then we get our eliminated two on Friday before the final on Sunday. But yeah, for me also GT versus CSK is a realistic final, and then let's see what storyline is followed. The Ahmedabad team wins, or Dhoni's farewell happens, or uh, Ambani's team wins. that's our that's the third one, right?
Yeah.
LSG doesn't have anything, so that's why I feel LSG का कोई storyline नहीं है कि क्या बना सकते हैं इसके लिए. LSG का we have
But
to think
think
of
of
something.
it, they are a team which has nothing to lose, right? Nobody is
Hmm.
expecting them to even win the eliminator. So
I,
at
I
times
I
such
fear
teams
for
can
them.
become dangerous when they have
Yeah,
nothing to lose. Yeah.
but I fear for them if they win the IPL, then actually people will say राहुल चला गया तो जीत गई LSG and he doesn't want that on his CV कि भाई
Yeah.
जब मैं गया तब ये लोग जीते and कोई रन भी नहीं बना रहा था like no opener has worked, nothing has worked for them, but just Krunal has worked for them. He's a very fun captain, right? Like he's
Yeah.
crazy, he scares me at times that he'll like kill somebody. So I think the players respond to that fear and it's working for them. So uh, let's see if LG win. I don't know what storyline will come up, but I don't expect them to win. It'll be too much. I mean, if they
That too
win
winning three
MI,
matches against top
uh-huh,
teams, right? I mean,
well, that'll be incredible. Something would have gone horribly wrong somewhere if that happens. So yeah, that's pretty much. We'll now. I think next we'll meet as after the final. And after the final or before the final, let's see how the games go,
yeah.
and we'll preview the games, and then we'll do a team-wise review. Like we did a preview of each team, and let's see how many of our predictions came right. We'll just revisit them and see how accurate our analysis was. So we'll be
Yeah.
fairly frequent now for a few days with our IPL videos.
And that would be an interesting one, right? Where we can go and deep dive into each and every team and find
Team.
out what went right and what went wrong. Especially a few teams like RCB, Punjab, and all. I'm sure Rajasthan Royals,
Rajasthan.
we'll have a lot to talk about. So that will be
Yeah.
an interesting one. And do look forward to our preview before the final. It's an interesting phase left now. We are in the business end of the tournament. Four exciting teams. You never know how things will go from here, but I'm sure the matches will be top draw. So on
Yeah.
that note, look forward to our next videos, guys, and please do comment, like, share, and subscribe to this particular video. Do let us know your thoughts. Apart from the points we covered, any other points that you feel you would like to share, would be glad to discuss that with you in our next video. Till then, take care, stay safe, and do enjoy our next videos as well. Bye bye.
Thank you.